welcome to a brand new episode of the Woolly Thistle Shopcast. I'm Corinne and I'm here with my co-host,
Maggie.
Hi Maggie, how are you?
Good.
Yeah?
Good.
You have a nice weekend?
I did. It was busy.
Yeah?
It was busy.
Full of hockey?
Full of hockey, yeah. My sister came to visit with my nephew, one of my nephews, and he had a hockey tournament, and we got lucky that it was right in our backyard. And
maybe lucky, maybe not. I don't know.
no, it was great.
Yeah?
It was good to be able to go and see him play.
Yeah, for
and,
sure. For sure.
Just spend time together. But yeah, it was busy.
So we record this on a Monday, which is why I'm asking about your weekend, because
Yes.
everyone will be seeing this on Friday, because the week will zoom by. But that sounds good. I had a nice weekend. I knitted a lot,
Good.
which I have nothing to show for it, but I did knit a lot, and I cleaned the house a lot.
That's good.
I think spring is in the
good.
air.
Yes.
And it was one of those cleanings where I didn't leave a spot until it was completely cleaned and then moved on to the next thing.
Those are nice.
It's nice. It's slow going, but it's top to bottom, so I'm feeling good about it.
Good.
Because I'd much rather be doing other things than cleaning the house, but the mood took
And I
me.
like the clean house.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But yeah, it's not often that knitting gets bumped for cleaning the house. I will admit that.
No.
So we
I
hope.
probably should more for me.
I think we could all relate to that, actually. I mean, I'd much rather be knitting. There was a podcast called Never Not Knitting, Alana Dakos.
Yeah.
She had the best theme tune. It was an audio podcast and she had the best theme tune. I wonder if anyone out there ever listened to it. I don't think she does it anymore, but the whole song was about never not knitting, and you know, the dishes can pile up and all the things, because you'd find her there knitting, and I thought, that's me. So we are here, and let's start off this show with a quick welcome. Thank you for being here. If you're new, you're very welcome. If you're returning, you know you're very welcome. So thanks very much for watching and leaving us lots of lovely comments on the last episode. They're so fun to read, and we really do appreciate them. We are trying to reply to everybody, though there's a lot of comments. So I'm not complaining, though. We will continue to try. If we haven't answered you yet, it's likely going to happen really soon. Yeah. One thing about that, if you have a particular question that you want to ask us, it's probably best to send us an email to info@thewoollythistle. That way you will get Grady's attention right away, and we'll get an answer to your question probably faster than leaving it in the comment section of the podcast. But, you know, it's fine if you do that too. So let's announce the winner from last time.
Yeah.
And we give away a $25 gift card to the Woolly Thistle, and this time the winner is Deirdre Pratt. Congratulations. She says, "Oh my God, where have you ladies been all my life? I have watched your last 2 episodes and it's like you can read my mind. I love the segments from the sheep herders and designers. Extra bonuses that make the 2 hours I spend with you so worth it. Looking forward to upcoming episodes with yoga," all in caps. Deirdre, so glad you found us too. Congratulations. You have won a $25 gift card to the Woolly Thistle, and we will draw another prize later in the show. All you need to do though, Deirdre, is send us an email to info@thewoollythistle. Put winner all in caps in the subject line, and we will pick you out from all the emails we get and get that off to you. Congratulations. So in order to be in the running to win a gift card, you need to leave us a comment, subscribe to the channel, and give us a thumbs up, and you will be in the running. So good stuff. Maggie, we have another packed episode, don't we?
Yes.
We have 3 segments for you, but before we do any of that, we want to share, if you haven't heard, basically we all raised over $15,000 for the Red Cross in Ukraine, which just blew my socks off. I didn't even hope or dream that we could raise that much together. 15,000 is already gone to the Red Cross. It went right away. And just thank you so much for your support and answering the call. And what we did was we offered both courses. We've got the Vanilla Sweater course, and we've got the Victory cardigan course. And we had stitch marker sets, which we ran out of twice. So thank you so much. We donated the entire 100% of the purchase price of all those things to the Red Cross. So, and our thoughts are with them.
Yeah.
So that's just amazing. Okay, so what are you wearing, Maggie?
I'm wearing the vanilla fluff that you knit for your lovely daughter.
She's Internet worthy, totally. She being you. And isn't it nice on you? This is the second size I think.
Yeah, I just love it. I love it. It was on the mannequin, and I'm like, that's my size.
And I'm wearing mine too, so I'll stand up and show you. I think mine is I can't remember what size I knit. Maybe the 4th size or something. I can't remember now. I'm sorry. I can find out and we'll put it there.
Yeah.
Mine is it feels like a sweatshirt. It's got so much drape in it, which I love. The sleeves are not too tight. Yes.
It's really cozy. I have a tank top on underneath, but other than that, like on my arms, like it's lovely. It's so cozy.
I only have my bra on underneath. I don't even have an undershirt on.
I think it's whatever you're comfortable with.
It's whatever you're comfortable with. I should have looked in the mirror before I left the house. But anyway, I love it. It's very soft, isn't it?
It really is.
And I did see in the comments for last episode, somebody was asking, how do you feel about having all that polyamide next to skin, or, wearing it because, it's not a natural.
Right.
And I thought that was a very fair question. To which I said, I think
it's more mohair than
right. Polyamide. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I think it's a very individual choice.
Yeah.
I love woolly wool, and that's what I'll always knit with. However, I'm not a purist, so I don't mind having nylon in my sock yarn because it makes it last. And if they needed to put in a little polyamide, if Rauma had to make the mohair work,
right.
I'm not feeling like I'm going to sweat in this or something, or it's not breathing. I mean, it is mostly wool and mohair. With that little bit added in.
If you didn't want that in there though, you could use the Finulgarn with the Bichet Bouche mohair,
which is a silk.
Is a mohair silk.
Yeah. So there are other options, but I'm thrilled.
Yeah, no, I
just keep petting myself.
I know. It's so nice.
So yeah, we're both wearing the Vanilla Fluff, which was just released last Friday. 2 weeks ago, maybe now?
Yeah, I think when the Sarah said
like
2 weeks.
And it was phenomenal. Thank you so much if you ordered the kit. And of course, we still have the original behind us here, the original vanilla sweaters. So now everything is available. The Vanilla Fluff comes in a kit. It also has its own course, which it shares with the Vanilla Sweater. So if you purchase the course, you get both patterns in your purchase price. If you purchase the Vanilla Fluff kit, then you get the Vanilla Fluff pattern in there. And if you order the Vanilla Sweater kit, you get the Vanilla Sweater pattern in there. And enough time has gone by that you can buy the Vanilla Sweater pattern on its own.
Yes.
So the only thing you can't buy on its own at this time is the Vanilla Fluff pattern. So it's complicated. There's so much, but it's good. And just thank you so much for being excited about this new version of the Vanilla. I'm very comfy in it.
I am very cozy.
And do you like the split hem on it?
I do like the split hem.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't think I've ever knit a sweater that has a split hem, but
it's nice.
I think I'm going to very soon.
Yeah. So I'm wearing my Tapestry cowl in the black and white, or blackened 4078, which is this color. Yeah. We love this color. Yeah, so I'm wearing that because even though it's spring and things are starting to warm up, I really do like having something right around my neck. So I'm wearing that, which is hiding the nice little mohair fluff bit here. I'll take this off. So the neckline on this is this lovely little mohair. So you get the instructions for doing this, as well as just the little rib as well.
Yeah.
In the Vanilla Fluff kit.
Yeah. Or
the course, yes. Okay, let's move on. What are you knitting on?
What am I knitting on? Well, funny enough, knitting a Vanilla Fluff.
It looks good.
I was originally going to knit a purple one, and we had a customer come to a local pickup. Her name was Terry, and she had her vanilla sweater with her, and it was this color.
And you went...
And I immediately went inside and switched the purple with this color for the fluff.
Well, this color is you. You just lights up your face.
I'm so excited. So
what color is it?
It is color 4120.
Yes, very popular color actually.
And the plum is 174 that comes with it.
Yeah, why don't you show them?
So I grabbed some.
So the fluff is slightly lighter than the wool.
It is.
But it's gorgeous together.
It's so pretty.
This really does look fluffy too.
It really does. So
this won't take long to knit because you're
No,
knitting a
I mean,
small
I think
size.
I started it. I'm knitting size B, and I started it like I literally went home and swatched that the night of the release. Like, so I swatched, and then I started it like the next day.
And how are you finding it? Potato chippy?
Yeah, it's very potato. I mean, look how far I got.
Yeah, I know.
So-
And yeah, you're just working on the rag.
Yeah,
have you finished the raglan shaping?
Yeah, and I just
Yeah.
separated for the sleeves.
Yeah.
And I tried it on. I put it on my barber cords and tried it on. It fits great.
Good, good,
So
good, good.
off to the races now.
Hooray! I am not knitting a vanilla anything right now for a change. I'm taking a
You've
break.
knit a fair share.
I know. I want a green victory though.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, I think that would be nice. A nice verdant green.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Yeah, very
It's
nice.
So fancy.
That color's so you.
So
Um,
I couldn't resist it.
I have a whip too. Or do you have any more whips to show? No.
So, Vandre. I had knit some Vandre socks, and these are in the rosehip colorway.
Vandre is by Rauma, and we just got a bunch in maybe 2 weeks ago now when you see this.
And these just flew off the needle.
Because it's what weight is it?
It is a worsted weight.
Mm-hmm. Worsted weight sock.
Worsted weight. And they're really nice.
Oh, could you imagine this with a strand of mohair?
I mean, it'd be nice and soft.
It
Like
would.
these are
And a little bit
rustic.
stronger.
Yeah.
Even. Although, we think these are going to be good, right? They're going to be...
Yeah. I think so. Early indications are good.
Early indications are good.
So.
Very nice. And you knit these very quickly.
I did. They the one I started on a Friday night and I finished Saturday morning.
What pattern did you use?
So I used an Ann Budd book where that like a pattern type thing. And so I just looked at the gauge that Rauma recommends for the yarn, which I want to say was 5 stitches per inch, but I don't remember. 4 or 5. And I did what the book said. So I knit mine on a size 4 needle, and it was like 40 stitches.
I know,
40 stitches.
How many 40 stitches?
Yeah. They flew off the needles.
I don't doubt it. Top down?
Top down.
Yeah.
Top down is my preference.
Me too, funnily enough. It's not often we agree.
I didn't have a preference for a long time. I can do toe up. Like,
yeah,
I'm
me
not
too.
like...
Yeah, but I feel like it fits my awkward high-end step and everything if I do it top down. I'm able to, I don't know, I'm just able to make it
I'm
fit
really
better.
partial to a heel flap.
Me too!
I
That's
think
my favorite.
a short row heel, it's kind of fun to do, but my foot really likes the fit.
Same
of
here. The heel flap.
That's it.
So you could probably find a very basic sock pattern just by Googling, vanilla sock or something like that.
Yeah, and we do have the booklets.
And we do.
Kits.
And some of those are, we'll put in a picture here.
Yeah.
Some of the sock patterns in there are very basic, and some have nice lace patterns on them too. Which,
they'll give you a lot of variety
lovely.
and choice for all this yarn. So, and I have
So
small...
that's an FO.
So this is an FO.
Hooray.
I have small feet. I was 6.5. So I only needed 2 balls.
Seriously? How much did you have
And
left?
I had quite a bit. I was not playing chicken.
Okay.
If I'd have done a longer...
We recommend, based on Rama's recommendation, that three balls is needed because this is a heavyweight yarn. But you got by with 2.
Yeah, I had 3 at home, and I'll probably just buy another ball and make 2 stripey ones.
Oh,
So
I think that'll be lovely.
I don't mind having extra.
Yeah.
Does anybody?
And are you going to wear these just in bed, or are you going to wear them like real socks?
I'll wear them like real socks and see what happens.
Yeah, report back.
Especially I don't usually wear socks in bed, so...
No, I'm not a...
I mean, like if I'm on the sofa at night just hanging out, then and I did actually wear them the other day, and they were great.
Yeah. Good.
So
yeah, they look brand new.
Yeah.
So
there we go. FO.
All right. Well, I'll jump in with my FO. I finished my hat because we had the color work Cowl. So I finished my hat, which is also in Rauma. It's in Finulgarn. It's actually
407.
407. It's actually a wee bit big. It's a wee bit long.
Oh, it looks cute on you.
So, but I think it's going to go as a gift. I think, I think it needs a man's head.
Okay.
So maybe John. So with that in mind, I did not do any embroidery on it because I think that would, I don't think he'd wear it. So I think this is going in the gift box.
Oh,
but really enjoyed knitting it. It's from the book Traditional Nordic Knits, which has a lot of lovely different designs in it and some nice pictures inside as well from Norway. So yes, recommend the book, and the pattern was easy to knit. I think I probably could have got away with maybe just two of these rows not done. Would have been good for my head.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I do have a whip. Are you do you want to show
my scrappy blanket?
Yeah,
I can.
Okay.
I'll leave this in a bag.
Oh
So,
my goodness!
I finished off a row last night, so.
Oh, pretty yarn.
So it's a granny square scrappy
Gorgeous
blanket using sock yarn. So it's all sock yarn scraps. You can tell which colors I gravitate towards.
I don't know. Can you?
Well, there's lots of pinks and purples and greens. And,
Okay, I would have thought you were more blue. Interesting.
No, there is blue.
There is
but
blue.
There's a lot of green and purple.
God, it's really nice. Is this going to fit like a twin bed
So-
eventually, or is it going to go the other way around?
No, it'll go this way. It's going to keep growing. So yeah, like twin size bed.
I have one of these that I started years ago in Plymouth Encore yarn. So it's like a DK or a worsted weight.
Oh, okay. Is it too heavy?
And it would also fit a California King.
Oh, wow.
So I'll bring that in because I'm halfway done with it and I ran out of steam, but it's amazing.
Yeah, this one, it gets put away, and then last night as I pulled it out, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to do a few rows. So I did a few rows, and
that's
it's
nice.
fun. And it's fun to see like the history of like, oh, I remember that yarn and that yarn.
And funny, I'm noticing here that you've got a different weight yarn, which was what Kelsey was talking about last time. And I think you can do that here or there, can't you?
Yeah, you can see. So I have an aunt who knits, and she gave me some of her leftover scraps, and there was like this old school mohair that I wasn't going to use on anything else. But I'm like, oh, that'll be fun. Like just some color pops.
Yeah.
And
Maggie, how much do you need for a row? Like, do you know what your weight?
I don't know.
How much?
I know I weighed it once, but I don't remember.
Because I have a lot of old sock yarn scraps that I could
I could certainly like weigh before and after to calculate roughly.
I really like some.
All my sock scraps. I'm not very good at knitting scrappy socks, so they just kind of all go now.
Yeah.
In this.
Well, and I don't tend to buy this yarn anymore at all. I mean,
it's interesting. Like this one's Mondim.
Oh, nice.
Like so they are, and that was the black elephant that we used to have here. Yeah,
that was an amazing color.
Yeah.
This is so pretty. I hope that you're inspiring someone to get their crochet out. And just do you know how many stitches you cast on?
I think I wrote it down on my Ravelry projects.
All right. And in Ravelry, what's your handle in Ravelry?
Nesting Mag.
Nesting Mag.
And I know I'm using an F hook.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only project that I like that hook.
Where'd you get it? Was it Walmart?
Probably like Joann's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like it. I don't remember.
It's so funny.
A clover.
I'm the same. I am not snobby about my crochet.
No, I mean I have some pricier like Purls hooks.
Yeah,
like
those are nice.
The nice wooden ones.
Yeah.
The neck's a little short on them. It was interesting how crocheting with a different length neck made me realize like how I crochet. It was
interesting. Huh.
But yeah, I can look it up, and we can link my project to the show notes because I'm pretty sure I went to Attic 24's tutorial, and I just followed that.
She's amazing, Attic 24. If you haven't ever come across Attic 24, she's a prolific crocheter in Yorkshire in England, and she has some amazing crochet projects, and she writes up designs for very accessible crochet projects. Feels like spring is in the air with this lot.
I know.
Yeah. Your stitches are so cute and neat. Diddums.
Crochet was my first love.
Is that right?
I used to do lots and lots of crochet. And I still crochet. I'm definitely in a knitting mode. But it wasn't until I learned to knit continental, because it felt like crochet. That I was like, oh.
So what sort of things would you crochet before?
Lots of little amigurumi toys for the kids. Oh my gosh. And mittens, hats.
Really?
Yeah. I never went sweater. I didn't crochet any sweaters. I think we did maybe I did like a little tank top type thing. But,
well, I think
it used so much yardage that I was like,
yeah, very expensive. But Murat Magazine, I think, is doing a great job of being the vanguard of garments in crochet.
There's another designer too who there are some great crochet sweater patterns out there.
Yeah, which I think is fairly, Well, I mean, there's always been these granny square kind of wraps.
I love
and
granny
things.
squares.
Well, I do too. I'm not sure I want to wear them though, unless they were maybe in 407A. I would.
I'm
That's
sure
funny.
you would.
Yes, well, that's
So-
lovely. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
So I want to show you what I'm knitting on right now. This is a cowl. It's called the Sunwick cowl by Donna Smith up there in Shetland. And it's so fun. And I'm using Uradale DK in the cream and the Muret brown. So all natural. We do have lots of different colors. But yeah, this is knitting up super fast. It's very intuitive. And I really like how she starts you off with the neck. It's a nice, easy rolled edging. And I think there will be a bit more to do on it at the end. But yeah, so I'm just going to knit this up. I ran out of yarn, so I need to go shopping myself and knit some more or buy some more yarn. But I think this is good. And it comes in 3 sizes. So this is the small size. So it'll be nice and tight, which will be good. But what I'm noticing about knitting with this yarn is the lanolin in it. It's just, it feels almost greasy, but it's lovely. It feels lovely. Yeah, it's so good. And this is the DK weight, so it's knitting up really fast. We recommended this pattern in one of our newsletters for this yarn, and so we'll put it in the product page too, so that people can link to it. And Donna Smith, of course, is a wonderful Shetlander who creates her own yarn called Langzoon, which is not in enough supply for us to have it here. So she wrote this pattern, but it works up just as well in Uradale, which is, of course, Shetland, organic Shetland wool from native Shetland sheep.
If I remember correctly, too, I think she originally wrote the pattern for an event.
I don't know.
Uradale.
Okay. All right. Oh, maybe then.
And then she also knit it in her.
Okay. All right. So this wool, it leaves your hands feeling, you can feel that lanolin on it. And I know that when I put this in the water to block, it's just going to sink. It's just going to take on all that water. Usually you have to push things down and it's all, I think this is going to sink and just absorb a lot of water. It feels really good. So I love this. And I'll be knitting on that this week.
Very nice.
Yes, indeed. So let's chat about...
I will say, I forgot to mention.
Oh, yes.
Hat. I finished this a couple weeks ago. I think I showed it here. I was knitting it.
I think we're in process.
Yeah, so... this is Oyster and Purls. I don't remember the colorway. Sorry.
Oyster and Purls, which is the Romney Merino blend that we had. We will be getting more, but it's being made as we speak, and it's going to take a little bit of time.
And it was the hat pattern from the Noragon Twisted Stitches Sourcebook.
Yeah, which we do stock.
Yeah.
And this
was
is so
a lot
pretty.
of fun.
It feels nice.
I blocked it.
Yes.
I washed it. I blocked it. It knit up really nice.
Yeah.
I used just about everything of this skein. I had a little bit left over, but it was not quite yarn chicken, but I was getting a little nervous. But it's really nice. It feels really nice.
Yeah. It's got merino in it, but I think you feel the Romney.
You feel the woolliness of that. Yeah. It is. It's really nice. And it's merino. It's not superwash merino, so it's just...
And it's naturally dyed as well, which is why it's going to take a little while for that to be restocked. Yeah, that's lovely. I do love a good cable hat, honestly.
Yeah.
I haven't knit enough of them.
And what's nice is it's not really cables.
Well,
it's
yes.
twisted stitches, but it gives you that nice effect.
Yes, so the whole book is like that?
The whole book is like that, and so it's nice because she does have some patterns at the back, but she also just gives you...
a nice stitch dictionary.
Yeah. So...
Fabulous.
Nice. I couldn't resist.
Fabulous.
So...
okay, so we had the Colorwork Accessory Cowl wrap up last week by the time you're seeing this. And we had the best time. The participation, the WIP photos, the FO photos were all really good. There was some beautiful, beautiful things.
Yeah.
Many Balvenie bonnets, which was just tickled me no end to see people knitting that. That's crazy.
A lot of Balvenie bonnets.
Yes, it was crazy.
Really good.
Yeah, but so many other good things too. And we had lots of people knitting their first color work. And then we had people knitting 5 different projects in the month.
I saw quite a few where it was like 4. This was my 4th. This was my 4th. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I did a really bad job of getting I am still slowly knitting along.
Oh, you
my
didn't bring that in?
I didn't bring it in. I could only carry so much into the shop this morning.
You are duty bound to bring it in next time. People want to see your...
Yeah.
Yes.
I am enjoying knitting on it. I'm very distracted by you know how it is. You get that little, I've got to do this right now.
Yes.
So
one of the fun things.
Yes.
All right, well, good. So yeah, the Cowl wrapped up. We're announcing winners. I think they should have been announced before you see this.
Yes.
So Maggie, we have a new Cowl coming, and we're really, really excited about it.
Yeah.
This Cowl is a Hap KAL, and we've never ever done a Hap KAL before.
No, we've talked about it. We've talked about doing a shawl KAL or a Hap KAL, and just reading about haps and the tradition of haps has got us really excited.
Really excited. There's so much knowledge and history that we can absorb by doing a Hap KAL together. If you don't know, a hap is a Shetland shawl. It's a traditional Shetland shawl. And we are going to be very liberal with what a hap is. If you find a design where the designer is calling it a hap, that's fine. We will include that as being part of the Hap KAL. There is so much history and tradition around the knitting of haps that we want to explore that in our KAL. So we're going to do a 6-week KAL, and it starts on April
22nd,
which is a Friday.
It is a Friday.
Okay, so we're going to start on April 22nd, which is a Friday. It's a 6-week Hap-Along, I guess, in which we will have interviews with hap experts and people from Shetland. We will have some live events where you and I will have a knit night with you or what have you, and other things that we're still working on. And so we're really, really excited. We're going to change up the KAL a little bit in that we are going to be quite involved. We're going to have interviews and things like that. So Maggie, what else do we want to say about it?
Well, I was going to say, since this KAL is new and we've not done it before, we're seeing it really as an opportunity to sort of dream about what kind of KAL we would want.
Yes.
And really adding as much value as we can to it, so we can learn as much, because, you know, I've seen haps, but I don't know that much about the tradition.
Yep.
And I think it's a great time for us all to all learn together.
That's right. And so the space will be limited. So what we're asking is that you pay an entry fee to join the KAL this time. For the 6-week KAL, it works out to $5 a week, so it's $30. And with that, you will be entered to knit with us and be in the Facebook group, the private Facebook group for the KAL, as well as access to the videos and the different things that we will be talking about, and knit nights and things like that. Now, I hasten to add that you don't have to pay to play. You could knit along right alongside us, but to get the content and to be in the group is going to be $30. So for that $30, we are confident that you will have wonderful and plentiful content to enjoy, and you will indeed become a hap expert yourself, which is not the goal, but I think it'll be very interesting and a good rabbit hole to fall down. And you'll end up with a beautiful hap of your own because you'll be knitting along with us. We're going to allow, as I said, we're going to be very liberal with what a hap is. If it's got hap in the title, then we're going to count that as a hap. And not all haps have hap in the title, so it could be an actual hap that doesn't have hap in the title, but a shawl that does have hap in the title, we're going to allow that. And we're going to also prepare some kits, so that if you want to just buy a kit and get started, we will have Gudrun Johnston's Hansel Hap available in a kit. This is a wonderful design right here. It's knitted in Jamieson and Smith 2-ply. The pattern comes in a full square hap or the half hap, which is a triangle, and it comes in 3 different sizes. Each of those comes in 3 different sizes, and they just get bigger from this one. So that'll be good. We'll also have Patricia from Knitography's haps, which are knitted in Rauma Finulgarn. We have Daughter of a Shepherd as well. There's a beautiful hap kit that we're working on, and there's others that we're working on, and we're trying to pull this all together so that you will have your choice. If you want to buy a kit, you can.
And if there's a hap that you want to knit that we don't have a kit for, all haps are welcome.
All haps are welcome.
And you can use any yarn that you would like.
Right. So we're just making these kits available, but you don't have to. So that's pretty exciting. Is there anything else we want to say? I think just be on our newsletter so that you get the information. That's where we'll send out the information as we solidify the plans for this. If you haven't cottoned on yet, the newsletter is the place to get all the information about anything we're doing at the Woolly Thistle. So be sure to be on our newsletter, and you can do that right on the shop, or you can send us an email at info@thewoollythistle.com, and we will get you on the email list if you're not there already.
Yeah.
So yeah, exciting stuff, and it's coming right around the corner, and we are pulling it all together, and we will tell you more about it as we get closer.
It is. I do want to mention that if there will be a private Facebook group, but if you're not on Facebook and still want to participate in the Cowl, all the events and any material that's released as part of the Cowl will be available through your email once you sign up for the Cowl.
Yes.
So you don't need to be on Facebook.
Right. You don't need to join Facebook, but we will be in there in our own private group for this purpose. But you will also receive the email once a week that will provide the links for where you want to go to watch the interview or join the knit night or whatever it's going to be.
Yep. So we will have a chat thread in our Ravelry group, and you're encouraged to join us whether you're on Facebook or not.
Yes, exactly. Either way, you will be receiving emails from us once a week as the Cowl rolls through time. So we're very excited, aren't we, Maggie?
We are.
We have a lot to learn about haps, and I'm really excited.
I've been wanting to knit a hap for a while, and looking on Ravelry at all the patterns and doing the planning, now I want to knit like 3.
I think I've knitted the Hansel Hap twice, and I knitted the Vandre Hap. So I am a hap lover because they're nice big shawls, which is what I really want, you know. So yeah, we're excited. So I hope that you consider joining us and be on our newsletter to find out more information. We will also have kits from Daughter of a Shepherd. Yeah. And we have, we got together the book, and we have more of her yarn available. So that will be a kit.
So we found this amazing book. It's called Knitting Shawls.
Yeah.
Christine Bogus. And inside it is this wonderful hap. So this is the happiness hap.
We had to include this.
It is so beautiful.
Yeah. So that's knitted in Ram Jam Sports. So we'll be putting
it is a big square hap. It's just stunning. I didn't want to show the writing.
And so we will have kits with the book and the yarn in the sport weight Ram Jam. Will the book be available?
The book will be available on its own, and flipping through, we've all flipped through it and been like, ooh, that's really pretty.
Yeah.
I'm not showing that
really nice.
Here we go.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And there's even a shawl in here that there are quite a few, but there's one that uses Devonia. It's great. A lot of these use really woolly wool.
Yes.
And we just really liked them.
Yeah.
Good beginner shawls, good instructions.
Lots of photos of how to do things.
Yeah, but look at, this is amazing.
Yeah, that's very nice.
So that
all those
pattern
pinks and
uses
purples.
Devonia.
Yeah.
And it's just gorgeous.
Devonia is really good for shawls with all that drape. Yeah, that's amazing.
Beautiful. So the book will be available on its own, and it will be available in kits for the hap.
Right. We're going to have several hap yarn sets and kits and whatnot. We're working on that right now. But of course, you can make your own and knit with your own yarn as far as we know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and also, let's not forget the Hansel Hap. This is my Hansel Hap knitted in Jameson Smith. And of course, it's designed by Gudrun Johnston. And she has updated this pattern. It comes in the full hap or the half hap, which is a triangle. And now it comes in 3 sizes. And I believe this is the smallest size now, which is great because as big as this is, you can always go bigger. Yeah. And so she has. And so we'll have kits for this as well. And in fact, I think right now would be a good time to hop on over and have our first segment, who is with Gudrun Johnston, and she's talking about her Hansel Hap. So let's go there. Be sure you come back though. We have lots more to tell you about. We've got 2 more segments to share, and we have a winner to announce. So enjoy, Gudrun, and we'll see you back here after. Hello, Gudrun. Thanks so much for joining us on the Shopcast again.
Hi, lovely to be here.
It's lovely to have you, and to see you surrounded by all your haps is lovely. We're very excited about our Hap KAL that's coming up, and we wanted to talk to you about your updated, or is it relaunching the Hansel Hap? How are you doing that?
Yeah, I would call it a relaunch / update of the pattern. So the main thing that's different is there are now 3 sizes for it. So the original hap is now the smallest of the 3 sizes.
Oh, that's exciting, because you need a lot of Hap, I think. So that's really good. I'm glad to hear
Need
that.
options for sure, depending on where you live, you know, how cold it gets in your neck of the woods. Yeah.
So it's going to be in 3 sizes, and you also have the full Hap Hansel and the half Hansel still?
Yeah, so they'll still be listed as separate PDFs, but you will, you know, you'll get both PDFs, whichever one you purchase. So they're listed separately on Ravelry, for instance. Right. And then the other main thing that's part of the update is that I have a lot more in the way of video tutorials that there will be links to, and just kind of suggestions, like if you are, say, for instance, not putting on the edging, you know, instructions for stretchy bind offs that you would use instead if you weren't using the edging. Right. But yeah, so hopefully there'll be a lot of support there for people, which will make it just a lot more accessible, you know, for newer knitters as well. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So, okay, so there's going to be a lot more support with this update of the pattern, and there's going to be 3 sizes, with my size being a full Hansel, but that's the smallest one, so it's going to get even bigger. And if that's daunting, then you could knit the half Hansel. Exactly. And you're cutting it in half, and it's a nice shawl shape. Okay, that sounds good. So let's go back to the beginning, because the Hansel Hap has been around. It's a favorite Hap, I think, for people to knit. It's always there. What was your inspiration for it?
Really, the reason that I created a pattern for it, because it is a traditional Shetland shawl. So, you know, I can't take credit for the design. It's more like I've given the instructions and, you know, my tweaks and whatever on it. I mean, I will say that a lot of Shetland Haps are knit with the older method, where they start from the outside going in. And so this is considered the modern method, where you start from the inside going out. And then the other thing that's different between the two is that the older version, you usually end up with a square of garter in the center, whereas, you know, these ones have the diamond shape that you're working instead. So, but the inspiration was actually because one of the very first teaching gigs that I had was for Green Mountain Spinnery. And it was, you know, a weekend in Vermont, and we were going to make a hat, and I mean a mini version, and that was sort of my very first class. And I created, you know, a pattern for that class, and realized that there wasn't really anything just with those kind of instructions available to people on the likes of Ravelry at that point. So, so that was kind of the first iteration of it. And then a few years later, I think, I don't know how many, then I included the half Hap. And again, that was because there weren't instructions for knitting a half Hap anywhere. And again, typically Shetlanders will knit a full square Hap. It's not as common to see a half shawl. So I wanted to create a pattern for that. And again, you know, I tweaked it a bit in the sense that if traditionally a half Hap was made, the edging would often be taken along the top part of the triangle as well. And in my case, it's not. And that's partly just because of how I tend to wear the shawls, you know. So yeah, that was kind of the inspiration.
So that's fascinating. So there was really a need for someone, and you came along and did that. But what you were saying about the traditional ones, I understand that many of them used to be knit from the outside in. I can't fathom why that would be. I don't know if there's any good reason for that.
Well, there is. I mean, again, mostly Shetlanders knit with knitting belts, not exclusively, but, you know, predominantly still a lot of, especially the older generation, will use knitting belts. And when these shawls were being knit as a form of supplemental income, they were also worn by women in Shetland. We're talking about in the 1800s. But when they were making them also for export, you know, they were often walking and knitting, so they're using the knitting belts. But using a knitting belt with the pieced method, because it's done in pieces, you know, when you're working from the outside in, and there's, you know, seaming that happens. Whereas with this method, you know, especially with a large shawl, you have a lot of stitches on your needles, and that just wouldn't really be comfortable or possible on the long double pointed needles that they use with knitting belts. There are a couple of other reasons too that Shetlanders haven't moved into doing this method, and that's partly because, as I said, they still use knitting belts, so they don't work with long circular needles.
I see. So they're maybe knitting sections of the edging first in sections back and forth.
Yes, yeah, so it'll all be flat, and so that's another reason why the older method, if you're doing a full square hat, the modern method, if you're doing a full square hat where you're working from the center out, doesn't appeal as much, because a lot of Shetlanders don't like to purl, because they're so used to only ever having to knit things, because most Shetland lace is done on a garter stitch background.
Right.
So when you do the modern method, after you've worked the diamond shape and you're working the lace part, you have to purl every other row.
Yes.
You're working in the round at that point. So again, you know, so these are just like little, you know.
That's fascinating. And also, though, you were saying that the original ones would be, the square in the middle would be knit as a square, and you're knitting it as a diamond.
Yes.
I think that's fascinating. I can only imagine the drape of the shawl is better on a diamond.
Well, I mean, it's again a sort of small aesthetic difference perhaps, but when you wear it, so if you're wearing it folded in half, on your back, that square will then you know, be at a diagonal, whereas sits, those garter ridges sit horizontally. So again, that's like a.
So I want to ask about you learning to knit. Did you learn to knit with a knitting belt as a kid, or no? No,
I did not. I didn't learn to knit in Shetland. I mean, I was 5 when we left Shetland, and so I don't know that I did any knitting there. I was barely at school. I mean, I had a year at school before we left. So I learned when we lived on the west coast of Scotland, on a different island, and a school teacher there taught me, but it was straight needles.
Straight needles. Well, so that's what I remember growing up, was the big, long, straight needles, but we would tuck it up under our arm, probably like a knitting belt, because that freed up both your hands.
Exactly. It does do a similar thing of like creating that taking the weight off and creating a tension that allows your fingers and wrists to kind of move faster.
That's how my mum taught me, and I remember sitting on the couch next to her with shoving it up under my arm. But anyway, so that's fascinating to think of the historical differences between the old way and the modern way, and we're ever so modern. Your design is the modern way. So why don't you show us one of your haps, because we'd love to see them.
Okay, so these, the two on this side are the new samples.
Gorgeous.
So this one will technically be the large size, but as a half hap. And you can see with this one, I also left the edging off.
Oh, yes. Oh, wow. That's very pretty.
Because a lot of people want to do that. So, you know, I wanted to have one of these samples show that without the edging. And like I said, you know, I include information about that in the pattern, like suggesting a bind off, because when you do the edging, there's no binding off that happens. So if you're not doing an edging, you have to have a very stretchy bind off, so that you can still block it out. As you can see, you can block it out, you know, with points. Because of the lace pattern. So
that's gorgeous.
So that's the largest. Like I fit it all in here.
And of course we have to mention the yarn. I actually have the colors here because you let me know. So the main color is, well, this is Jameson and Smith 2-ply, first of all. So why is this the best yarn best yarn for knitting haps, do you think?
Traditionally, these haps, there would have been a hap weight yarn spun for them. Again, we're talking about in the 1800s. But, you know, that got phased out. So they were always, though, knit with a thicker yarn, as opposed to the lace weight, you know, that was kept for the fine lace haps.
Right.
So those fine lace haps, they're still the same construction.
Yeah.
But they have all that intricate lace patterning. So
Right.
they would have been worked in the very fine 1-ply, 2-ply, you know, cobweb weight, but the haps were always knit with the heavier yarn. So it was a Hap weight yarn, but now we use the 2-ply jumper weight.
And I think too, I mean, these were shawls that were daily, you know, daily drivers. They wore them to work and all of that. So it had to be.
It was a piece of outerwear. Yeah. So it was to, you know, brace the elements outside.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the color palette for that half Hansel that you just showed there. It's lovely. And that pop of green is just perfect.
Yeah, it's a really bluey
Yeah.
green. I can't remember the number of that particular shade, but
141.
There you go. Yeah, it's really lovely.
Yeah. I love the edge. I love the edging without the edging.
Yeah.
So I love that you did that in a darker color too. It just sort of finishes it off just perfect.
Well, so that's just bringing back the main color back in to kind of, frame out that section. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So show us another one.
And then this one is the medium size. And this one is a square hat. So again, it's pretty hard for me to like fit the whole thing in.
It really is. I mean, what would you say? What is the blocked finish size of that? Do you know offhand?
So I approximately, the largest one is going to be around 75, 76 inches square. And the medium will be 67 inches square. And then the small one, which is still the original pattern size, that's around 55.
Okay, that's quite a bit bigger then. That's amazing.
Quite a bit bigger. So yeah, it just really depends what you're going to be using it for. You know, like the medium-sized square one, I think could make a really lovely baby blanket.
Yes.
Especially if it's for a blanket that, you know, is staying in the house as opposed to like being put in the stroller. You know? And also as a lap blanket, you know, like I'm pretty tempted now to make one just as a lap blanket, which I haven't ever used one in that way before.
But it's a nice size for that.
It is a nice size for that, yeah. And then, you know, as you say, it depends kind of where you live. Some people want, you know, that much wool, you know, around them. And
I count myself
people
in
are
that.
wearing it as like a piece of outerwear.
So I was going to say show us the colors on the other one, but
here we go.
That is lovely. It's so warm against the cool gray though. And I have here we go here. That is beautiful. Lovely.
Thank you.
Very nice. And so we're going to try and have kits available in these two colorways, but we also want to make sure that viewers who want to make one of these but wants to use different color yarn, do you have any recommendations or tips for choosing colors that will play nicely together? Yeah,
I mean, I think really, you know, there are no hard and fast rules about colors and how they should be placed. But tips for that would be that I generally start with what I want my main color to be. You know, I'm kind of, you know, thinking about the palette, and that might be influenced by who I'm making it for. I mean, I've made so many hats and given them away at this point too. And so sometimes I'll be taking inspiration from, you know, the person, or maybe it's a baby that I don't know the sex of yet, that kind of thing. So I usually start with the main color, and then I'm kind of gathering, you know, a bunch of colors that I think will look good with it. And there are a few different ways that you can kind of determine how you might want to place those colors as well. So I don't have it handy, but cutting up some pieces of cardboard and wrapping yarn around it. And this will be something, again, that will be included in the pattern, just as a suggestion, as a way of, you know, determining the placement of your colors. That's really handy. Like I use that pretty much every time I make a hat now.
So you wrap the colors you want to test, you know, in the same order as they would be knitted up together.
In the same order, and usually I'll give them like the number of wraps per row, you know,
Yes,
so
yes.
that I can sort of see, you know, how they're balanced, you know, against each other. And I'll usually make about 3 of those, placing the colors in different configurations.
Right.
And then I'll usually put them somewhere with, you know, nice natural light so that I can walk past them. And, you know, you'll see like what your eyes are gravitating towards, which one is kind of speaking to you.
Yes.
So that's usually, that is a good way of kind of determining the placement, you know, of your colors once you've gathered them all. Another thing that I quite often do with my haps is I usually take the one of the contrast colors that's the sort of the most bold, I guess, looking one of my contrast colors, and I usually have that just in a 2-row sequence.
Just to tone it down a little.
Beginning. Well, almost to sort of frame out the.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like there's a pop then of color. Here and here. I mean, in this case, I brought it in different parts. Yeah. But I usually start and end with that contrast.
Because that gives it a sort of border feeling.
Exactly. Just kind of framing the stripes together. Usually, the main color comes back in to the center part as well. I mean, that's fairly common and typical. I mean, if you were going to call anything a traditional take on color choice, it would be to use all natural shades. And because there are a lot of them, so, you know, you have this opportunity to kind of show this gradation of the natural shades. And usually it's going from darker, you know, into lighter in the center. And again, typically it's a mirror image, right? It's, you know, going one way into the center and out again. But I've seen haps in all sorts of different, you know, configurations where it's not a mirror image, it's, you know, random stripes.
Well, you say that, and I remember now that I did 2 dark here and only 1 dark there. I don't know if you can do that because I forgot.
But also, that's the thing, like I always tell people, like whenever I'm teaching this as a class and stuff too, it's like, you don't have to get hung up on like exactly, you know, the right way to do it. You know, and I show them lots and lots of examples. I mean, you can go on Ravelry and look at, you know, all the projects and get inspiration and see all the different versions that so
there's no wrong way. It's all going to look good. Show us the edging so that people can see the difference between one with and one without.
Okay, so this is the smallest size half hat,
which is so lovely.
And this was this was like the original one that I did. So this one has, you know, these edging points. Okay?
And that's not back and forth.
So after you finish the border, you're then casting on just a few stitches and you're working these edging points like that. And then they're just kind of, you know, it is almost like a very elaborate bind off when you're working that part. It's just a simple edging, you know. And then this is without.
Both are wonderful.
After you've finished the border, you have all your live stitches, and instead of doing the edging, you're casting off all of the stitches.
And do you recommend the best stretchy bind off in your pattern?
I recommend one that I have come to really like, which is the Icelandic bind off. Which is one that I use quite a lot in garter stitch projects now, because of how that bind off is worked. It kind of creates this bumps of effect, so it blends in quite nicely to garter stitch, but it is also stretchier. So you know, that's the one I'll recommend in the pattern, and I'll have a tutorial for that. But really, any stretchy bind off, you know, I've done I-cord bind offs before.
That would be nice. Okay, so not only are you resizing it and making it bigger, you're going to have a lot of links in the pattern to tutorials to really help people learn step by step what they need to know. Exactly. And yours is knitted from the center out. So in a diamond, you're just casting on 1 or 2 stitches and then it grows and then you decrease it. That's great. Well, that's great. So let's talk about when this is all launching and will be available to people and how they can find you and your pattern. So first of all, the pattern, where are people going to be able to find it and when?
So the pattern relaunch will be happening on the 22nd of March.
Okay.
And that will be on Ravelry. If you've already bought the Hansel previously, you'll just get an update.
Oh, that's very generous. That's lovely.
Yes.
Good.
Good. And it will be available on PayHip as well for anyone who can't access Ravelry. And there, I have had a question about if you bought it on Ravelry and you're getting that update, but you don't use Ravelry anymore, you know, will you get an update? And so just want to reassure people that yes, we can figure that out. I will definitely be mentioning that as part of the relaunch, because obviously I can see if you purchased it, you know, previously on Ravelry, and I can, you know, still get it to you. So
that's wonderful. Yeah,
so that's on the 22nd. And then we're starting the Knit-Along.
On March 25th, we hope to have kits available in the colors that you have shown us in both of those. So we'll have kits available starting on Friday the 25th, but people will still get the pattern either updated direct from you or they will purchase it from you, but they can get the yarn set from us. And that's in plenty of time for the Cowl kickoff, which will be April 22nd, and it's a Hap KAL. So I'm very excited. This is the first time we've done a Hap KAL, and I think it's going to be really interesting. And I'll share lots of details about that coming up. But you've agreed to come and join us in our kickoff cast on party, which is lovely. Yeah, to have you there. So that'll be good. I am sure there'll be a million. Well, maybe not a million, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of haps, Hansel Haps being knitted that day for sure.
Yeah.
That sounds good. So where can we find you, Gudrun? Where can people find you?
Well, currently my website is under maintenance, so that isn't live at the moment, but I'm pretty active on Instagram. And I'll be, you know, launching the pattern there. Obviously Ravelry, don't do as much on Facebook either. So I'd say, Instagram is kind of the main.
Okay, and you have
all the videos are on YouTube. So that I have my own YouTube channel. It's just my name, so it's Gudrun Johnston. And you know, I have lots of other tutorials on there. There'll be ones that are pertinent to the Hap, of course, but there's a bunch of other knitting tutorials on there too.
That's great. Okay, good. So before we wrap up, I do want to mention that the Shetland Trader book 3, we're actually out of stock right now of 2 and 1, but we do have book 3 and that has done so well. Congratulations on that book. It's been wonderful. And I see that you've got your cover sweater behind you.
Yes. Well, that's actually the original sweater too.
Oh,
so it's not the one that the model's wearing. That's on the cover. She's wearing the recreated version
of the original. Oh my goodness.
So, that's the original. All these samples are on tour right now. So going around the country to different yarn shops.
Do you get nervous about that? Will they ever come home?
Yeah, and it's funny because I met up with them last week because I was teaching in Texas, and the samples were there, so it was kind of nice. I was like, "Oh, you're okay," you know. Everything looks good. But you know, I know that they're well taken care of.
For sure. But they're your babies, you know, and they're all on their own. Exactly. All right, well, Gudrun, thanks so much for giving us your time today. We're very excited for your new design or for your reboot, and I'm sure it's going to be super popular. So thanks again, and we'll be seeing you again soon.
Yes, thank you.
Take care. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed that segment with Gudrun Johnston. She's a wonderful designer and friend of the shop. You will definitely see her again inside our Hap KAL.
Yes.
Her pattern, her new Hansel Hap pattern has already released. It released this past Tuesday. So if you haven't picked it up yet, you will want to do that.
And I do believe she's doing updates. If you already purchased her pattern before, you should be receiving an update in Ravelry, I imagine.
I will check my Ravelry library.
Yes, me too.
And we will have kits for this.
Jameson and Smith.
So our goal was to already have kits for this, but we had a little shipping delay with some of our yarn.
Yeah.
So just keep an eye on our newsletter.
They're coming.
And the kits are coming as soon as possible.
Yes, yes. So Maggie, in our last episode, you were wearing your love note, and that got some major love in the comments. So people want to know what you're going to knit your next one in, and I do too.
So I think we have a lot of great choices in the shop.
Such as
I think you could use Biche Bouche, Le Petit with mohair.
Yes, that would be lovely.
Would be stunning. Mm-hmm. And I thought about a red one for that.
Yes.
But I have a red fluff going.
Right.
And I was like, well,
yes.
You can have multiple red sweaters.
Yeah.
I just didn't. But I've been wanting to knit one with Jagger Spun.
Oh, which is perfect.
So this is moss and Jagger Spun. You can see that green is just so heathered. And I pulled some plum, and they just go so well
yes,
together.
it pulls out that light green.
It does. So this is what I'm planning for my love note.
So you're gonna have a fluffy love note.
I'm gonna have a fluffy love note.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the pattern calls for a fluffy love note, so I'm gonna go for it.
All right. I think Devonia would also be a good choice.
Devonia would also be a good choice, and you could just pick if you need help with colors, just shoot us an email, and we can take a color for you. Yeah. Take a photo for you, but there are lots of pretty shades of Rauma plum, or the Biche Bouche mohair.
I like the sound of the Biche Bouche one.
I know,
because that's really, really my jam.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Both would be really good, but this is color 09 with moss, and they just go really well together.
So when are you casting this on?
I don't know.
Not to apply pressure or anything.
I don't know.
You gotta get your fluff moving through. Yeah.
Lately, it's like every Friday, Maggie's making a purchase. Luckily, I have a very nice husband.
Yes, you're in good company though.
I also thought about this one, so I pulled another color combination because I also like blues. And for as much as I like blue, I don't have very many blue sweaters. So this one is deep blue with color 114, and they go really nice together too.
Yeah.
But I was really feeling that green.
Yeah. Lovely.
Who knows? Maybe there are two in my future.
Lovely.
Look, I already put that one on my bag.
I know, it's already gone home. If you're interested, we could make yarn sets for the love note. It definitely was getting a lot of love in the comments, so we could do that if that's something that interests you. But in the meantime, we do have it, and you can purchase the yarn a la carte for sure. So let us know if you're going to be knitting one and what you would knit it in. That would be really interesting. It's a 4-ply pattern.
It tells you to hold 4-ply with mohair, and it makes it to make a DK.
Okay, wow. So. It's funny how that happens. The mohair is so thin, but I think, with all those air trapping little fluffy bits. Okay, well, we also last weekend launched our Harris tweed bags. And at the time of recording, we only have a few colors left.
Yes.
And these are them. So we've got the yellow, the baby blue, and this brown. I think
we call it brown, but it's got a lot of depth to it.
I think it's got a lot of red in it.
Yeah.
And the zipper's red. It's got yellow and blue and green and red. I love this actually. It's very nice.
Yeah.
So we have some of these left. I have one of these bright yellow ones because I love that. It's happy. I will not lose it. I'm terrible about losing
I think we
things.
do still have a couple orange.
And the orange is super
But we put them
juicy.
in their pretty box.
Yeah,
So
all of these
I
come
grab
individually wrapped in a lovely box to make them extra special.
Yep.
And they're all tucked away.
I did grab one, and for right now, it's still sitting in its lovely box.
Is it? What color did you go with?
I got the teal.
You got the teal. That was very popular.
It was very popular. Yeah. And then I was a nice sister. I bought a pink one for my sister.
Nice.
So I asked her what color she wanted, and she's like, "Can I have a pink one?" I was like, yes, you can.
I have this yellow one, and I have a purple one for the woolly thistle. I had to have a purple one.
Yeah.
And yes, so these are selling very fast. I'm not sure what the state of affairs will be when this goes live, but thank you so much for the very enthusiastic reception. We will need to have more of these made. I think it does take a while. And the story behind these is Katrina is a designer from the Outer Hebrides. She's actually located in Tolsta on the Isle of Lewis, which is the other half of Harris. And Harris tweed comes from Harris, and it's handmade oftentimes in people's homes on looms. It's just a tradition that they have. And Katrina is lovely to work with, and she is married to an Indian gentleman, and they have a little workshop out in India where they employ locals to do their sewing, and they're right there. Katrina was in India. She brought this over with her, and she was there as these were being made, and I would get lovely updates from her. And we have some wonderful photos of the handmade nature of these. And then, of course, we have this little tag on here that says the Woolly Thistle, which I'm so proud to have something with the Woolly Thistle and the Harris Tweed official.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get this label if it's not Harris Tweed. It's that coveted and looked after by the Harris Tweed Authority. So I think we should try and have more of these, but it'll be a long time in the making. These are small pouches, good for a sock bag or just a small project. Nice zipper, lovely brushed cotton, very soft inside, and a little pocket in there.
They really are so well made.
They're very well made, and they're elegant. They're simple. There's nothing too fancy. They're just 100% pure wool on the outside, you know.
I will say too, I didn't know a ton about Harris Tweed, and going on the Harris Tweed Authority website, it was fascinating. Such just wonderful, rich tradition of weaving, and just
the history
amazing.
and Harris. I actually stayed on Harris for a week many years ago in a little Airbnb type thing. It was before Airbnb, and the beaches there are phenomenal, like beautiful. Mediterranean or Caribbean looking water, freezing cold. So you have the whole thing to yourself. Nobody's actually swimming in it, but it's beautiful. And you've got the sea pinks and rabbits, little bunnies, you know, it's lovely there. And not many houses at all. Tarbert, I think it's Tarbert. Is it Tarbert? I can't remember now. I think Tarbert is the main town, which is literally a little street. And you take the ferry over there. It takes about 4 hours, I want to say. Anyway, very, very honored, happy, and excited to have the Harris Tweed logo attached to something that has the Woolly Thistle logo. Very exciting, and really loved working with Katrina at Studio Tolsta. Give her website a check out, studiotolsta.com, and you'll see some of the contemporary designs that she is making herself. She's a wonderful designer. So more to come from Studio Tolsta and the Woolly Thistle is my hope and desire for sure. What else do we have in the shop? We wanted to talk about needles a bit more, didn't we?
Yeah, so we showed the ChowGoo sets last week, the complete set, and somebody asked about the difference between the 4 and the 5-inch.
And why we have
we have them.
I think it's really personal preference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or maybe if you are knitting smaller circumference items, you might want a shorter tip so that you can get round the corner easier.
Now, I will say ChowGoo does have shorties, which we will show. We're currently restocking those, so
they're out of stock right now, so I can't show you.
But so the 4-inch.
What size?
This is size 2.
Okay.
We went for the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you are knitting like lots of hats and stuff,
it's a whole inch difference.
Yeah.
So the 5-inch is, I think, the better seller. We sell more 5-inch. I think this is your typical length.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've got enough there to rest your pinky.
The set that you bought, did you buy 4 or 5-inch?
5. What did you buy?
So did I.
Yeah.
5-inch.
I think that is sort of the default. But the 4-inch, I think it...
I didn't super think... It is shorter, so like the way I usually hold my needles, but I'm sure I could adjust.
I think you would.
Just like with the shorties, you would adjust.
Let me try that. Yeah, I mean, that would take a little bit of getting used to for me. I like resting my pinky on the, but of course you would have the wire joints, so you would have something there. That's really the only difference though. So both of these are 2 through, oh no, this is
that's a complete set.
So is that?
Yep.
We have a complete set in 4 as well.
And a complete set in 5, yeah. So it goes 2 through 15.
Don't do what I did.
And you get, I was much more cautious after that.
Yes.
And you do get the small cables are used for 2 through 8. And you get 3 size length cables, and the large cables you also get 3 lengths there.
Varying
fit the 9 through 15.
Yes. You get an instruction card as well. So these are complete sets, but they also come in half sets, meaning that
Yeah, so if you never use larger size needles, you could buy just 2 through 8.
2 through 8 and get all this good stuff in there.
Yep. You also do get like little connectors and stitch markers
and it's a lovely, lovely.
It's a nice case.
It's a nice case. All the cases are the same regardless of which set you buy. It comes in this case. Yeah, so I think, you know, if you do a lot of small circumference knitting, you might want to go with the 4s. And, you know, if you do a lot of sweaters and other things, you'd probably go with the 5s.
Yeah.
That's what I would think. If you know different, let me know. I'd love to know.
Yeah. I think much of it, though, is just personal preference.
Yes. So we have another winner to announce, and we will do that right after we go visit Caitlin, who is back with us after being away on maternity leave. And she's got a lovely segment to share with us. She has some beautiful color work that she's working on. So she's going to show you that, and she's going to show you some baby gift knits or baby knit gifts that she received when her little baby was born. So let's go to Caitlin. Be sure to come back. We'll announce the winner, and we will also show you what's brand new in the shop. And there's the hint right there. So we'll see you in a minute.
Yep.
Hi everyone. So great to be back with you. I'm Caitlin, part of the Woolly Thistle team, and I'm returning back to the Shopcast after a few months off for maternity leave. I have a couple things to share with you today. First, I have the project that I've been working on for the Colorwork Knit-Along that finished on the 18th, which is actually the day I'm recording. I'm not quite done, but I still have a decent amount of that to show you. And I also want to talk about different methods for weaving in your ends, especially on colorwork projects. There can be a lot of them, and I have a lot of them, and I've been thinking about how to finish this off. So yeah, we'll talk about that. And then I have a little collection of baby knits to show you. We've been gifted quite a few from knitters in the family. And also, as you know, Corinne knit some baby pants for our little guy. And so have just a couple of cute baby things to show you at the end. I am wearing my vanilla sweater. This is Corinne's pattern. I showed this on the Shopcast a few months ago, and it finally fits me now, so I can wear it. Yeah, I talked about it more there. I added some stripes onto mine, and yeah, just love the fit and love how it turned out. It's nice and loose and fun to wear this time of year with kind of the weather going up and down these days. All right, so I'm going to show you the project that I've worked on for the Knit-Along. I was quite inspired by Emma, who's also a Shopcast contributor. She has talked about this her cowl that she made, and also has her own video on her YouTube channel, Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma, which I watched, and I just loved her idea of using one of the patterns from, or one of the charts from the Selbu Patterns book, and that's something that we have in the shop. It is just full of all these beautiful charts, and there's a couple of ideas, kind of simple patterns that you can use to incorporate those, but then you can just kind of take those charts and add them into anything you can think of. And I especially liked Emma's idea to use a different yarn for the lining. I love the Shetland wool that we carry in the shop, but I was a little hesitant to have it next to my neck in making a cowl. So I loved her idea of adding a different yarn to the lining to have something softer around your neck. So here is what I am working on here. I did, like Emma did, I did a provisional cast on here and then started the chart. I am working about every 1 or 2 rows in a different color. So I just kind of went through my stash of JNS 2-ply jumper weight. I got a couple of grab bags a couple years ago, and just found kind of a gradient of colors that I liked together. And I actually made a grid of the chart and colored it in with colored pencils to see if I liked these colors together, just to get a rough idea of if it flowed well enough. And I noticed that in one spot I had to tweak it a little bit from my original plan. In these rows here is where it kind of flips and starts, you know, I've got the greens fading to a dark brown, light brown, and then kind of this orangey color. And then it flips and goes back the other direction, back down to this yellow is kind of the next flipping point, where then it goes to the lighter green, darker green, and then the browns and orange again. I noticed that in this section, I only had one little row of the lightest orange color, and it was only going to be a couple stitches, and mostly actually this white here. So I ended up doing 3 rows of that. I just kind of tweaked it as I started knitting it and noticed that I wasn't having as much of that lightest color as I wanted. I really love the variety in that light orange color there. So to figure out how wide I wanted it, I just took a similar cowl. You might even call this like a gaiter. It's really meant to be worn tightly around the neck and then kind of slouch down and just kind of tuck into your coat. I like something like really close to my cheeks and chin when it's cold. So I just took a similar cowl that I liked the fit of, and I measured how big the circumference of that one was. After my gauge swatch, I knew about how many stitches it was going to take me to get to 4 inches. So then I could just multiply that and roughly estimate how many repeats of the pattern I could do to get about the same circumference around. And then I just kind of started knitting, and I just knit to a point where I'd done the repeat a couple of times and I liked the height of it. Then I stopped with that, and then I'm doing the lining part. So this is just going to be plain brown. It's this is just from my stash. It's not something from the Woolly Thistle, but just a brown, and I'm holding it with a strand of silk mohair to make it kind of fuzzier and softer on my neck, the part that's actually going to touch on the inside. So this will eventually get folded in. I'm going to knit it almost the full length of the cowl, just stop a little shy so that the top and the bottom of the colorwork part will hopefully curl in just a little, and you won't see the brown from the outside, but that will just kind of curl onto the inside. And then I've got this provisional cast on here where I'm going to join that up again at the end. I'm probably going to do a Kitchener stitch. It's more fiddly, but I think it's going to look more seamless. I could do a 3 needle bind off instead. Then you'll actually like see the ridge of the bind off. So thinking I'll make the effort to do the Kitchener stitch at the end. And then what I'm thinking about is what I have going on in here. Because, you know, the background color is all just the white, and I forgot to say that's Rauma Finulgarn, just the creamy white. And then the colors change so often that I have all these ends going on. Had I done some research beforehand, I might have known that there are nice methods for weaving in your ends as you go. In the course of the Colorwork Knit Along, I learned about the Weave and Steven method. Some people in the Facebook group chatting about the Colorwork Knit Along were mentioning the Weave and Steven method, which to me sounds like as you're starting a new color, you're basically pretending like that the yarn end is kind of like trapping a float. You just kind of flick it over your needle, trap it with your next stitch, and then do that for 8 or 9 stitches in a row, and then you've got that end kind of woven in as you've started. And there's a YouTube video he has showing you how to do that. There's a couple other similar methods, but then there's just the traditional weaving your ends in after the fact. I had come across another idea, and I'm going to try this here. Woolen Pine Designs. They did the sorrel sweater. Maybe you've seen that one. It's got kind of pretty, almost like trees or leaves going down the yoke. They have a new design out recently called the Sea Glass Sweater, which is meant to be a stash busting project using up lots of your scraps. Basically doing every other color 2 colors per row color work sweater and just kind of using whatever colors you have. So they end up with a lot of ends on their sweater. In one of their, I think it was an Instagram post, they talked about doing sort of a French braid method on the inside to kind of handle all of your ends. So essentially you're going to start with a couple of strands at the top, make, you know, kind of a braid like you would your hair, and then just kind of incorporate them as you go down. I'm going to try that method here and see how it goes. Since this is all going to be encased in my lining, I'm not sure that I would need to weave in all my ends. I think because it's such sticky wool, I could get away with not, but I've got such a clump in here that I do want to kind of contain them somehow, make it a little less bulky in there. So I'm going to try that method. I've only found one video on how to do it. KnitPicks has a video out, and I haven't found this technique anywhere else. And the video doesn't show you exactly how to end the braid. You know, you're going to still have a few that you've just incorporated in at the end. So I don't know if that's going to leave me with kind of like, I need to finish the braid and have a bit of a tail or what. So we're going to see how that goes. I'll keep you posted. But if you can think of any other methods that you love for weaving in your ends, either before, kind of as you go, or at the end, let us know in the comments. And yeah, we'll see how this finishes up. All right, now I just want to show you some baby stuff. I've got quite a few items accumulated. This is our second child, so I've got a couple from the first, and yeah, just kind of wanted to show you a couple cute things. So this one I made for the new little guy, and it's a flax sweater by Tin Can Knits. I just didn't do the garter. There's like a little panel of garter stitch down the sleeve. I just didn't do that part. There's so many sizes for that sweater that, yeah, I think I knit the smallest one and he's already outgrown it. But this, I picked up some souvenir yarn at Rhinebeck. This is the 3rd time I've done this for a sweater for one of my kids. This is from Tammy White of Wing and a Prayer Farm. She dyed this naturally. The yarn was spun from her animals. So I think he only wore it once, but it's cute. It's a memento. This is one that my mom made for him once she heard we were having a boy. And this is the Little Gainsey sweater. It's by Marie Green, and it's in her Knit a Little is the name of her book. So this just about fits him now. Really pretty little cables just on part of it. Could be a nice kind of first cable project because it's not too big and daunting. And you know that the mossy baby pants that Corinne made for him, she's shown these on the Shopcast. So excited to receive these in the mail. Those were by, let me check my notes, Sandra Magalhaes. And yeah, these are so stretchy, which is perfect, and long, but you can cuff them. They're gonna fit him for a while. So really loved receiving these. This one I knit for our first son. This is another one of the souvenir yarns from Tammy. This is Beyond Properium. That's by Kelly Van Niekerk, and has this pretty, it's like a cardigan, but the opening is way over on the side here. All these pretty buttons. I think this has mohair. It's her Thelma and Louise yarn. Oh, that was fun. He wore that to his first Rhinebeck. And then this one I just got in the mail this week from my aunt, who's also a knitter. Beautiful little cardigan with this little cable on there. Some pretty buttons. And this one is the Little Hipster Cardigan by Kate Gondwana. Also very nice. These were gifted, so I don't exactly know all the yarns. But yeah, we have lovely, lovely yarns in our shop. You're always welcome to reach out if you're looking for a particular yarn weight or fiber content. Being a knitter, I don't back away from fully wool baby items. I, have my washing routine down, and I find that the 100% wool items just wear really great. It's nice to know that, wool is breathable yet warm. I just love getting to put a baby in some wool stuff. So I think that about covers it. And just so happy to be back with you. We will check in again with you next time. Thanks so much.
I hope you enjoyed visiting with Caitlin. It's really good to have her back on the show. And also behind the scenes, she is helping us with the cowl that's coming up and doing lots of other things. You'll probably talk to her in email once in a while as well if you're emailing us. So it's good to have you back, Caitlin. Thanks so much for being back with us. We missed you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's announce the winner of the second $25 gift card. And this one goes to Danielle Boots. And she said, love your sweaters, ladies. And your Harris bags are lovely. Well, thank you, Danielle. Congratulations. All you need to do to claim your prize is send us an email to info@thewoollythistle.com. Put winner all in capitals in the subject line, and we will get that right out to you. So thank you for leaving a message, and everyone is eligible to win a prize. All you need to do is, what do you need to do, Maggie?
Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel.
And give us a thumbs up.
Yep.
Yes. All right. So now let's look at, we have one more segment to share with you, so don't go anywhere yet.
Mm-hmm.
And also we want to share what we have in.
This is pretty exciting.
Yes, let's talk about that. Do you want to
I'll grab the
that?
basket.
Yes. All right. So we have the gray sheep back in the shop, which has been a while.
It has been a while. It's so pretty.
This is her Hampshire 4-ply, which is just lovely. And I think there's some new colors in there as well as some old favorites.
Yes.
And let me just have a quick look. This is Looking in the Mirror, her Hampshire 4-ply, which is 98% virgin wool and 2% alpaca, just to give it a little more softness. But this is a very lovely woolly wool. Emma at the Grey Sheep. Now this is, it used to be called the Little Grey Sheep. Now it's the Grey Sheep because they've grown up. So she does 60 gram skeins. So there's 240 meters, which will roughly be, we'll put it here because I can't do that in my head, right on demand. This is Looking in the Mirror, which is a lovely lavender on gray. What do you have there?
This one is Country Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Just a beautiful light green.
This is a new one to us, Tracking the Wolf.
That one's so pretty.
I love these verdant greens. Mm.
Yeah. Weather Rolling In.
I like that one too.
Yep.
And this is Oatmeal, which is a lovely sort of 4078 kind of color.
This one is so cute. It's Mouse in the House. Really cute.
Do you think I think that is dyed.
I think so.
Yeah. This is Naturally, which is not dyed. It's a gray. Lovely. Oh, that red.
And I don't know if you want to hold up the three, like.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Mouse in the House, Naturally, and Oatmeal. But I do think this one's dyed.
Mm-hmm.
These two are natural.
Yeah. This one, Ruby, Ruby, Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
That is so good.
Mm-hmm. This is Caramel.
I gotta say too, I just got like a big whiff of like good woolly smell.
That's good stuff.
It is good stuff. This one's called Diesel.
That's a good name for it. Oh, Bluebell Time. This is a new one. This is perfect. Bluebell Time. I love bluebells.
So good. She's got good names on these. This one's A Little of What You Fancy.
That's a delivery. What yarn is coming in today?
I don't know.
This is Moutarde, which is French for mustard, of course. Lovely, bright yellow.
And that is all of them.
Is that them?
That is them.
Gorgeous. So this
Yeah,
is
if you want.
lovely woolly. Oh yeah, let's hold them all up.
Here, let me cut them.
Yeah, so we have lots of variety here. Whoops, too big for my wee hands. So we have this in good supply. It's just in the shop. It's going in today, Maggie, is that
Nope,
right?
it's not going in today. It is going in on Tuesday.
Oh, it's not in the shop yet. So
No.
this is coming. So if you're interested in that, be on our newsletter because will tell you when it's going on sale and what day. And we have a very limited supply of what's in this bag here. So Maggie, tell us about what's in
These
here.
are really exciting. So these are sweater kits for the Delilah pattern, which was done especially for the Gray Sheep by Marie Wallen.
So it's a Marie Wallen design in Gray Sheep yarn.
So we have a very limited quantity of these.
Pre-assembled by Emma from the Gray Sheep. So you get all the yarn for your size. You get the lovely bag and the design pattern.
Yep.
This is the back side. Oh, hold on. Like that.
Yeah.
And the Gray Sheep on the front.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah, so this was exciting. We were able to get a limited quantity of these from Emma.
And do these go on sale on Tuesday as well? All right. So definitely, if this interests you, you need to be there on time. We think these will go very quickly.
Yeah, so get on our newsletter and
yes,
we'll give you the details.
Yes, for sure. So that's exciting. It's really good to have Gray Sheep back. It's been a while.
It has been.
And so it's good to have them back. Okay, what else do we want to talk about here? And, Marie Wallen fans, we have her gift box coming. Those will go on pre-order on March 30th, which is coming right up. So if you're inclined to want to have that, and these always go so fast. We have a limited number. We have a good amount coming, but they're limited. There'll probably be more people who want it than we have, but we'll do our best. So be sure to be on our newsletter list, because that's where we tell you what time it's going on sale. But it's going on sale March 30th, provided everything goes along as it should, and we get everything in that we're expecting. So yeah, so that's coming. And also Lina 14 magazine, pre-orders for that is starting on March 31st, right on the last day. So we will have those available too. And Lina has a couple of books coming out that we'll be stocking as well.
They do.
Yeah. They're coming out in April though, I think.
Yes.
We have Alex Bird's new book, which looks amazing. And we have another one.
Meiju, I think is the name.
Meiju.
I'm not sure if that's how you say the name. Seeing the photos of the book, they look amazing. It's all about textured knitting. And so those are coming.
Those are coming. They're not here yet. They're not being released until mid-April, but just so you know that we will be getting those as well. So I think that's it. Do we have anything else left to share at this point? I'm not sure we do. That's enough blethering from us probably for yet another 2 weeks. We saved this all up. We hardly talk to each other, you know, and we just save it for here.
That's not true.
It's not. We talk a lot. But let's go out with Emma, who is talking about the joy of knitting. Enjoy, Emma, and enjoy your knitting. And we'll see you back in a couple of weeks. And until then, if you go out,
take your knitting.
Bye.
Hi everyone. Today I'm here to talk a little bit about resourceful knitting and knitting to bring yourself joy. Coincidentally, the book that I will be showing you, which is where I got this pattern, is called Strands of Joy by Anna Johanna. You can get this at the Woolly Thistle. It's published by Lina, and it's a very nice collection of colorwork patterns. It's gorgeous. I love Anna Johanna's sort of different approach to color work, which is like most color work that we see from Shetland or Norway. The color work is very regular. It's all symmetrical. This isn't symmetrical at all. There's these beautiful, just kind of like it looks like a drawing, the way that these patterns, you know, it looks like a painting almost. It's amazing, and they're not regular, which makes it really good for your brain. So I always recommend trying a regular color work out as a little brain exercise. So this sweater is called, as I said, the Rose Hip Sweater from Strands of Joy, and I'm gonna find it in here so I can show you the original. The original is knit in two much more low contrast colors with each other compared to this, but I saw the motif and I liked it. So this is knitted spin cycle dyed in the wool. I wanted to use the John Arbon Yarnadelic from my selection box. So I've got John Arbon Yarnadelic and Le Fleur. As you can see, I still have plenty left over. I weighed this and I have about 59 grams left. So I think I probably used just over 40 grams for the size that I made, which was probably, what size did I make? I think I made the second size, but you could probably get a lot of the sizes out of one ball of this as your yoke color. But I want to talk about the way that I made it. I was actually knitting a sweater with this gray yarn, which is Juniper Moon Patagonia. which is not a yarn that's carried at the Woolly Thistle, but it was just, there was a sweater that was languishing in my UFO pile for like almost 2 years. Actually more than 2 years. It was a cardigan, and I liked the front a lot, but the sleeves, I didn't want to make sleeve caps, and because of that, the sleeves didn't really fit properly, and I was just kind of like not excited to wear the cardigan, and so I just never finished it. And I had one sleeve done, and I thought, I'm gonna repurpose that. I'm gonna knit something that brings me joy. And I really wanted to knit a yoke sweater with this Yarnadelic. This is 100% Uradale from the Falkland Islands. It's dyed in the wool, worsted spun, heavy fingering, kind of sport weight yarn. You can kind of pair it with DK, fingering, or sport. It's a little bit of a jack of all trades. This yarn is kind of like a sport weight, and I would say that probably Rauma Finulgarn is not too far. You might feel like the yarn feels different, but the sort of spinning process of Rauma Finulgarn, the woolen spun process, is very similar to this one, and the gauge is really similar. So if you're looking for a great yarn from the Woolly Thistle to make a sweater like this with your John Arbon Yarnadelic, don't shy away from Rauma Finulgarn, because even though John Arbon Yarnadelic is worsted spun, and then the yarn that I used is woolen spun, they can go together. If you watched Kelsey's recent Shopcast on using different yarns together, you will definitely have just learned about that. So that's awesome. That was a really great segment about how you can use different types of yarn, and different weights of yarn, and different fiber contents of yarn to make really cool things and amp up your texture. So there's not a whole lot of texture in this, because as Kelsey would say, the yarns kind of create a cohesive fabric because they're the same gauge. But they're not similar yarns in construction at all. So you can see they go together really well. So I unraveled the first sweater and then I soaked the yarn. So I unraveled it onto my Swift, tied it off into skeins, and then soaked them. They got tangled in the water. I was pretty bummed about that and kind of freaked out. I thought I might have to buy another skein of the yarn, but ask around, because sometimes your friends will tell you that they really like to untangle things, like as a meditative thing. Like I knit to be kind of a meditative thing. A lot of people love to untangle stuff. And so one of my friends immediately was like, oh, I'll untangle that for you. Like, I'll totally do that. And then one of my roommates was like, oh, I would have untangled that. And then my friend who actually untangled it, his mom was like, oh, I would have untangled that. So ask around if you have some tangled yarn barf. Your friends might be able to help you out. But eventually it got untangled. I'm very grateful. And I was able to knit this sweater. And I made it into a cardigan by, I started the beginning of round actually at the front. And right after I did the button, the collar, which I knit back and forth, I just cast on 9 steek stitches, purled the outer ones so that I would know where to pick up the stitches. And sometimes you can purl along the whole steek, or just like only knit the center stitch of the steek's bridge so you know where to cut. I just purl the outer edges because the hardest thing for me is knowing where to pick up the stitches. Along the button bands, especially if the yarn is a dark color. This is not a dark color, but sometimes it's hard to tell to do it in a straight line. So that's a fun tip. Purl the first and last stitches of your steek if you're not going to purl most of the steek, so that you can see where to pick up for your button bands, and add a stitch on as the first and last stitch, so that you can have 2 clean repeats on either side. So that way the beginning of round is at the center front instead of somewhere at the back. You might have to adjust your short rows a little bit to plan for that, but it is certainly possible to do that. This is a top-down yoke sweater, so you knit the yoke, color work. When you're finished, you divide for the body and the sleeves. Put the sleeves on hold on. I probably used my knitting barber cords for this one actually, or on waste yarn, and then you knit the body, knit the sleeves. And then you pick up, knit the button bands, do the steek. Secure the steek in your preferred method. I like to needle felt my steeks. Attach the buttons and cut it. The last thing I do is cut my steek. The very last thing I do. I like the whole thing to be done. The buttons need to be sewn on. The piece needs to have been blocked twice. As I'm very fussy about certain yarns with steeks. Shetland yarn, I don't even secure it. I would block Shetland yarn before I cut the steek, but I wouldn't bother securing it anymore. I did at first because it was scary, but you don't have to because it's not going to unravel. Yeah, so the needle felting just kind of secures everything on the wrong side, and you can cut without. I didn't have any, just didn't budge when I cut it. It didn't even look that felted. Like the Shetland yarn will look really, really felted when you take it off of the needle felting pad, but this didn't look felted, but no problems. It did not unravel. So yeah, I found a sweater in my stash or my whip pile that I didn't like, frogged it, and made a completely different sweater out of it. And I really like this. I think it was really fun. I felt really joyful when I was making it because I knew that I would really like this piece a lot more than I would have liked the piece that I was initially making with this yarn. So I'm really happy with it. And I feel like I need more cardigans in my wardrobe. One thing that I'm working on is doing button bands correctly. I have a tendency to not put enough buttons on my sweaters. Like if I had double the number of buttons here, this would close properly. But as you know, if you knit cardigans, sometimes it's hand knit. There's not always opportunity to make it exactly the way it would look if you bought it in a store. And if you look through, even Strands of Joy there's pictures of people sitting down with gaps in the buttons, and that's just part of a hand knit sweater. So one thing that is also true is that the button band's the last thing you do. So if I really wanted to fix this, as you can see at the bottom, it's a little bit loose here. But if I really wanted to fix that, I could just add a snap there. Or I could just unravel the button bands, because that's the last thing I knit, just re-knit the button bands. Not a problem. But you have to decide, is it worth it to unravel it, or do I not care and I'll wear it the way it is? So be mindful of what's best for you or the person who will wear it. According to Isolde, I picked up 5 out of every 7 stitches along the fronts here, and I actually always pick up most of the stitches along these ribbed tops and the bottom, but I think that was too many in this case, and I should have not picked up every single one because it's a little bit there's a little bit bulky up there. But it's important to pick up all the way to the top, unless you want a notch, which is sometimes something you might want in your neckband. And again, I only used 6 buttons, but that was probably not enough. So if you want your sweater to have fewer gaps, use more buttons. But I like it the way it is. I only had 6 buttons, so it's fine. I think if you're using smaller buttons with a smaller button band, the more the better, because it'll stay closed. If you have a thicker sweater with kind of sturdier button bands, 6 is probably fine, depending on how tall you are or the person who's going to wear the sweater is. Yeah, there's sort of a variety of ways you can decide to do the button bands. But yeah, I like this sweater. I think it's really comfortable. I will happily make more sweaters out of this book. I actually got the idea to use the Yarnadelic with this particular pattern because Anna Johanna used Yarnadelic for one of her other sweaters in this book, and it looked really nice as the yoke. So I thought I would put it in a different yoke in this book. And like I said, a regular color work where it's not symmetrical, that's great for your brain. Especially if you're really used to knitting color work, like Fair Isle style of color work, where the bands are small, the repeats are easy to memorize, this will challenge you, and in a good way. So I would recommend knitting some of Anna's patterns and seeing that for yourself. It's really fun. It was a true joy to knit this, especially the yoke. Sometimes I get through the yoke and I'm just like, oh, it's not going to be as much fun to knit the rest of the sweater because the yoke was so much fun. But the whole sweater was so nice to knit. And again, I felt really nice about it because I knew I was gonna enjoy the finished product, and a lot more than I would have enjoyed the sweater that I had initially started knitting. So if something doesn't bring you joy, frog it. It's gonna make you happier to be something else. There are a variety of projects that I've frogged over the last few months just because of that. And I've just thought, I'm never gonna finish this because I'm not excited about knitting it or wearing it. Either one of those things. So some things you just kind of have to put in time out for a while until you're ready to come back to it. I feel that way sometimes about Fair Isle things when they're just taking forever. I'm like, I know I'm gonna love this, but it just needs to sit for a while, and then I have to come back to it and like rekindle that connection with that project. But for certain things, you know, take stock of your projects, especially if you've got a lot of WIPs. Think, am I really going to want to spend time knitting this? And if not, just rip that out. Start again. So I think that's all from me. I hope that you learned something, or that you're inspired to use your Uradale if you have some, or to get some, because the Woolly Thistle carries this, and you can get this anytime, not just in your selection box from last year. So yeah, check it out. Be resourceful. Knit what you want to wear and what you want to knit. Thanks for watching.